Hey guys, what is up? Andy here, back at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing the third and last part of the Cannabis Bill interviews, and this is with Jeremy Acton. He is the head of the Dagga party. It was really cool to sort of get an insight into the Dagga party and the things that they're doing. And yeah, this is just basically a collection of what their thoughts are on the proposed Cannabis Bill. And yeah, I think it's really interesting to check out. So without further ado, let's head over to the Zoom with Jeremy Acton, and thanks everybody for watching. Welcome Jeremy, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy day to be joining us for a short interview on this Cannabis Bill that's been going around almost every Facebook group, every WhatsApp group, every Twitter account, and it really seems to be creating quite a hysteria because there's massive conflicts on either side. It's not. I don't think it's what anyone expected. It seems to have taken a lot of people by surprise, and with it being so close to the 24-month period, it's really come out of nowhere. I wanted to start off just with first, yeah, thanks for joining, and whether you would be happy to just maybe give a quick summary of the bill for those that haven't seen it quite yet.
Okay, thanks for having me on your show and your broadcast. The bill came about as a result of that judgment on the 18th of September 2018, and we have waited a long time. Now, this bill comes out and says that an adult person may possess a prescribed quantity of plant cultivation material that is still to be determined, which might include seedlings and seeds. That's not yet specified. And also, an adult may cultivate the prescribed quantity of plants in a private place. That prescribed quantity is 4 plants, according to this document. I, in my last season, grew 10 plants, which grew very large. I finished smoking them within 2 months, the results. So I need at least another maybe I need 60 plants to be satisfied that I am actually going to have enough for the whole year. And it also depends on how many are males. It also depends on growing conditions and what happens to your plants in terms of cultivation. So there is no way that 4 plants can allow me to have what I need. Yeah. Now the judgment, we're also allowed to possess in private, in a public place, in our private person, we can have 100 grams. That might be reasonable for carrying through an area to a meeting or something. And at home, we're allowed 600 grams per person, or 1.2 kilos if there's 2 persons. Okay, it doesn't say if there's more than 2 adults in the house, what the problem is, what is possible there. But they seem to say any more than 2 adults may not possess cannabis. Or the amount allowed per household is got to be divided amongst those adults. Okay, we may possess or carry 1 plant in a public space, but it must be covered and not visible. So these, we may give somebody without being paid for it 1 plant. We may give somebody without being paid for it 30 seedlings. Or we may give somebody without being paid for it 100 grams. So the problem with this bill is that this is the judgment, a nice thick essay on our rights to privacy. Yeah. And a great deal of mention is made about privacy. Yeah. And how society recognizes privacy. And it's not the state's right to determine where does our private boundary lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, this bill, our cannabis rights were given to us in terms of our Section 14 rights to privacy in our home and in our person and in our possessions.
Yeah.
So now the state says, oh, you may only have 4 plants. That is a violation of my private right to privately determine my needs in relation to cannabis.
Yeah.
And to privately cultivate for my needs and to privately consume those, my production.
Yeah.
So, so that is, it also assumes that maybe the police now have a right to look over every garden wall and count plants.
That's
and
the
knock
thing.
on your door if there's more than 4 plants. And I'm afraid I didn't do all of this activism to just be living a further a police state.
Yeah.
Okay. I
100%.
live in a constitutional democracy that is supposed to respect my human dignity and my life and my privacy. And my privacy line is drawn at the boundary of wherever I live, whether it's an earth, a farm, or a small yard.
Yeah.
And what I decide inside that space is got nothing to do with the state. They only forbade dealing in this judgment. And only when I am caught dealing does the state have anything to say to me about my cultivation of cannabis in my garden.
That's the thing.
Okay. So, as I said, I planted 10 plants the last season. It lasted me 2 months. So I need to add a whole lot more plants, and my yard is planted full already for the next season. So, and I'm going to defend my rights to all of those plants. So there's no, secondly, another thing is that this entire bill was drafted by prohibitionists. It hasn't even had any consultation with the cannabis culture in South Africa about how we as adults assess our cannabis needs.
Yeah.
See, cannabis is not only about smoking. I personally smoke about 120 grams of medium to low grade cannabis per week. So that adds up to maybe 6 kilograms a year.
Yeah.
I would like double that to be sure that I have what I need. On top of that, I want cannabis oil, 60 mils of that at the very least per year in order to treat and prevent cancer. Now, a lot of the skeptics might say, oh, that's just anecdotal evidence. But in actual fact, cannabis is the most researched plant on earth. The cancer, the healing effects of cannabis and how it works with our endocannabinoid system is a matter of science.
Yeah.
So if you still doubt that cannabis doesn't, if you doubt that cannabis cures cancer, then you must catch up with the literature. So another thing as well, this bill also assumes that cannabis is such a dangerous thing that 600 grams at home is fine, but 700 grams is dangerous to society. Okay, as if the harm are resting in the number of grams that you possess.
Yeah.
There are no harms.
Yeah.
You see, the state in the entire court case, from the Western Cape up through to the Constitutional Court, the state was completely unable to prove any harms caused by cannabis. And yet in this judgment, they say, oh no, we can't permit dealing because of the harms caused by cannabis. There was a logical fallacy and jump which was unsubstantiated in the case that was made by the judges in order to prevent dealing and to deny our right to the economic value of this plant. Okay, the whole case was extremely dubious in terms of its just process, right from the very beginning, where it was started to be decided that it was going to be given to us in terms of privacy. And then we said, no, we want this to be given to us in terms of the truth about the plant, the nutritional value of the hemp seed, the medical value of the plant, the industrial value of the fibers. We want this recognized in the court. Oh no, it's just a drug. You may go home and you may use it in private and stay away from society, and you may not benefit from it. And that carried on all the way right up to the judgment, which led to it's only a drug, and you may not deal in it, but you may go and use it in a private space.
Yeah. And then after that,
carry on.
After that, I mean, so, you know, they've gone all the way up into that judgment, and then basically they've not, I mean, this was the whole thing. They didn't listen to any of the proposals or any of the information that all the various parties have been feeding the government in order to create these good legislative decisions. Instead, they've gone and they've kept, I mean, this is what I'm picking up as a paramount issue, is they've kept the SAPS a judge and jury on these matters. And as you've said, you've picked up heaps of loopholes already on numbers of plants. They're going to be, is SAPS going to be counting seeds and measuring seedling lengths, and basically it's leaving us in the hands of the cops.
Yes, this entire bill is like police state Mark II.
Yeah.
The drug war sort of escalated against us. It's the use of this bill is being used to impinge on our privacy rights and our civil rights, and they are going to apply active policing against cannabis in terms of surveilling people for the number of plants that they have. And the whole bill is designed to promote jail time for citizens by virtue of the people's use of the plant.
Yeah.
And as a result of our activism in South Africa, we are no longer just drug users sitting in the corner somewhere. We are a culture as a whole. We applied for the right to be in society and to practice our culture. But we're also not allowed to now smoke in public. Yeah. If a person can smoke a cigarette in public, I expect the same Section 9 right to equality to smoke a cannabis joint in public.
Exactly. Okay. That's the thing.
So,
and it needs the SAPS to be the deciding factor. I mean, it shouldn't be the case, specifically with, let's say you're growing at home, you're in your, you've got your private space like we all grow. And the whole reason the privacy judgment was passed is so the police can't come kick the door down and start counting my plants and tearing them out, and for no reason. And then what are they going to do? They don't understand the policies.
The judgment, unfortunately, created this police state situation by saying that if a policeman sees a number of plants in a property and it interrogates the person as to the purpose and use of the plants and decides that there are excess number of plants for their purpose, it was completely random without any figures being given, then they could be arrested. The police misused that to destroy plants, to steal plants, to arrest people and steal the plants, and then set a court date 6 months hence. By that time, all the plants have disappeared.
Yeah.
Those kind of things have been happening ever since the judgment. Now that there's 4 plants allowed only, it's out of the police's hands, but they are now actively required to check whether there's 4 or 5 or 6. Okay, and I don't accept a police state and surveillance of my private space. When I decide on how much cannabis I need, that is my private right.
Yeah.
And I will privately cultivate it and I will privately use it. So this bill is entirely unconstitutional in terms of the privacy rights and the Section 14 application that happened in the judgment.
No, okay. No, I fully agree.
The other thing that is a problem here is the bill criminalizes a parent who gives cannabis to their child. Now, what I know about cannabis's medical benefits is enough for me in compassion and in consideration of facts, enough for me to claim the right to administer cannabis to my child or any child with that parent's consent for situations such as shock, respiratory ailments, asthma, inflammatory conditions, because I know the facts about cannabis and how it works with the endocannabinoid system to deal with inflammation and various congestion, asthma, bronchitis, etc. So I'm not going. I resent being called a criminal for acting in a case of emergency situation where cannabis is. Helping someone with cannabis would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
So this bill has to be completely trashed. It's rejected. Mr. Lamola and cronies do not contract to this bill in any way without. There will be no law about me without me.
Yeah.
Okay. So the way that we fight this.
Yeah.
I've spent many years since the 1990s trying to talk sense towards government about nuclear power policies, environmental policies, and they never listen. The state, I participated in the climate change green paper, where the state was going to make laws about how we're going to mitigate climate change. Every civil submission that was made by the public was completely thrown out to one side, and they went ahead with it exactly how it was dictated by the coal industry in South Africa. Okay, so they are not going to listen to us about this bill. It's going to have to get militant to the extent that this bill cannot be passed.
No.
Okay. So the Dagga Party of South Africa has kind of been a format whereby a number of us, so ultimately the Dagga Party was formed to share the vision of a South Africa where the people can utilize cannabis for maximum economic benefits, including in industry and in tourism, at home, and for the nutrition by the hemp seed. So I wanted to see it as a mega crop grown by everybody, and everybody allowed to participate equally in some kind of cannabis economy. If anyone out there is concerned about this bill and wants to see a better deal, there is no way that we can sue the government and win again, or beg them to listen to us. Ultimately, it comes down where we have to smoke those prohibitionists out of that House of Parliament and out of every city council in South Africa in some way by standing together as a culture. I know there are smokers who are still ANC. I cannot understand how anyone can support a political party and smoke cannabis when that political party is a prohibitionist party. It's got to be a political issue now. So on the Dagga Party website, there is an opportunity to subscribe to a membership. There will be a weekly email about cannabis news, inspiration and mobilization and motivation towards a shared direction towards the cannabis country that we want to see. And it won't only be about cannabis. Becoming a member it will allow us to link you up to people in your area to form cooperatives and cooperative groups that are more socially efficient and stable than the present situation where we don't really connect with the local people in our area who smoke cannabis. We don't really know who in our areas is using. But by joining the Dagga Party, you step through into our database and we will help you find your friends and create your cannabis tribe in your ward, so that we can talk about other things like urban agriculture and clean energy and getting off the grid and water capture and food and social interaction for mutual help, you know. So that is one of the reasons why it would help everyone to join the Dagga party and see how it goes. If we're moving forward towards an election and there are leaders coming out of communities that we can meet and screen and develop ideas with, then yes, we need those people to occupy this platform and develop it and take it down into the communities, so that it's not just only my ideas and hopes for my country, but which is shared consensus about where we are going. I've got a vision for a country that is powered by cannabis. And we use, as you can see by the logo here, the leaf catches the sun. And the sun is what provides the energy to the plant, and the plant will provide to our economy. And that little red line around the inside of the sun that touches on the tips of the leaves, that is the blood of all South Africans. Okay, it doesn't matter whether you're a Zulu or a Xhosa or a white person or whatever your cultural background. If you support cannabis, we can work together and not say black versus white and this and that. It's no longer about that. They always want us to be divided. We've got to sort of center ourselves around the cannabis tree and build a society and a culture out of that. So I'm really asking, I can't go and do another 6 years in the courts to argue against this bill. We have a local council elections for next year. Maybe we miss that, because going to parliament is where the power lies, and it's the most impact for the least admin. So for now, and if we can do a lot on the ground and with each other locally together, but we gear for parliament, because I don't know how else we are going to beat this. This bill is the New World Order agenda applied to our plant. And I don't know how we can allow this. It's not a future that I'm looking for. Thanks.
No, it's a very scary thought that, you know, if they come at this and, you know, it gets proposed and it's, you know, it doesn't get fairly trialed, it doesn't get the public opinion, then we could be sitting in a situation where this bill's passed and everyone is worse off. South Africa isn't economically gaining from the plant, and all in all, it's not the direction we want to be going. I mean, everything about it, from everything we've heard, is community-driven, you know, a united front. And I agree with how the Dagga Party it provides that for the people. That it's that platform. It's a good network, and it's a good way for people to actually stand up. And you can't, as an individual on our own, me sitting at home, I can't sue the government. I don't know the first thing about it. But having people like yourself, Jeremy, that are actually able and actually on the inside, and you're actually seeing these politicians and these people and understanding how their minds work and how the system works, that's the way that, you know, change can actually be made, and change for the good.
Yes, very much. I've got very little faith in the present government at all, and so I'm calling on my fellow citizens to build something new and go towards those places where the power apparently accumulates. We must actually reach the critical mass that allows us to create our own legislation, which we are going to now figure out as a better vision. But we need to get into parliament to be able to sign our own legislation. And the Dagga Party platform is already registered and ready to go. So I hope that the young people, especially, who are the ones who most have to deal with the future and the police state that is coming our way, if you want to have like a better hope and direction, then let's try and walk towards the idea of a South Africa that runs on cannabis.
Yeah. No, thank you, Jeremy. Hopefully we can get that, especially for the youth. And yeah, thank you so much for your time and
Sure.
you know, taking time out of your busy day to join the show. It does help a lot for South Africans to know that there are things like this out there. There are, you know, people that are fighting the fight, that have fought the fight, and yeah, it does mean a lot to everyone for your efforts as well. And yeah, just once again, thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me on your show and for your interest, and you're welcome anytime. Hey, we've really got to get together and fight this as one culture for our future and our rights and for this plant.
Agreed. Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay.
So guys, that was it. That's the full interview with Jeremy Acton. And if you guys enjoyed it, make sure to let me know. It's quite cool. Maybe we can like start a bit of a comment thing going on. Your thoughts and whether you agree or not on the bill. You know, so just an interesting topic. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy the topic, there's also a similar video with Myrtle Clark that's going to be linked below. And then also Schindler's Attorneys also helped us do a video just explaining the legislative process of what a bill is and how it gets passed in South Africa and the public participation and all of that. So guys, thanks again for watching, and check you guys next week. Woo!